Hey there crew, it's Mark from Men Who Bullet. Thanks for hanging out with me today for this week's Plan With Me video. Really excited because this week is going to be a little bit different than what we've been doing in the past. So everything so far has been very much focused in a structure on a weekly. We do some reflections and what's coming up and then our area for rapid logging. This week we're going to be trying something a little bit different called the Alaster Method, which essentially is a running list. And the reason I'm doing this is this week is a little bit truncated. I've got a few days of work. My team is going to a virtual conference together for 2 days, and then I'll be off for this weekend going camping. So I don't have like a full week. So I thought that the Alaster Method would be really great for doing that. So we'll be setting that up. If you're new to this channel and especially our Plan With Me videos, we're going to start off with planning what this page is going to look like. The middle is going to be the minimalist approach. So that's kind of how we set this up in case you're not into adding extra things into your bullet journal, but you want a little bit more structure to your approach. And then the end of this video, we focus on the twist. So as I've mentioned in previous videos, someone once said that they thought my style was like a minimal twist approach. It's minimal in nature, but there's always a fun twist. And that's what we add at the end. And this week, we have some great things we'll be doing with some ink. We'll also be including some stickers from Midori as well as we set things up. So let's first talk about what you need. If you are just focusing on the minimalist part of this, what we're going to need is a pencil. I always like to work in pencil first before a pen, and then a pen that you're going to be using. I also have a ruler for my straight lines, and I have my bullet journal here, which is a B5 size Archer and Olive dot grid journal. Don't forget, I am an affiliate with them. If you're ever interested in trying out Archer and Olive notebooks, you can use my discount code, which is MENWHOBULLET10, and that'll save you 10% off of your notebooks. I always like to mention that because I love saving money too. Even though this is going to be a truncated week, I still am going to do a double page spread. The left-hand side is where we're going to do most of our work today. The right-hand side is just going to be for rapid logging, so I'll be splitting that page in half to leave room for that. But let's go ahead and plan out what the rest of this page is going to look like. I've got my white pad insert from Plotter. Really love this thing, even though it doesn't fit into any of my plotters or other notebooks. I love using this because I can just wipe it clean at the end of every session. And I like the fact that I'm not wasting even more paper by doing that. Over on the right-hand side, we're just going to split that page in half. We'll come to that spacing in just a second. But over here on the left-hand side is what we're really going to focus on. I'm still going to leave space over here for reflection. We've been doing that for the past few weeks, kind of taking on the more traditional bullet journal method and leaving space, but I'm not going to do the traditional 7 days during the week. I actually have a stamp that I'm going to use up here and just freeform journal kind of in this space here, kind of just reflect on the previous week. Then over here, we're going to be using the Alaster Method. So if you're not familiar with that, it's essentially a running task list is what that is. So what we're going to do is essentially set up a space for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then over on the right-hand side of this is where you're going to list out all of the tasks or events or things you're doing. And then usually what you do is you'll try to connect those to a day. So it's like, I need to accomplish this on Monday, or I accomplished this thing on Thursday, or don't forget this event is happening on Tuesday. It's a little bit of a different approach on how you can take on your journal if you want to without going in too deep. The Alaster Method will actually take place in this space here, so I'll talk about the spacing for that. Let's actually just take a look at that right now while we've got everything out. The back of my bullet journal is my cheat sheet. This is where it will stay for the immediate future. So the first thing, we'll take care of the easy part, which is just splitting this page into half. So again, this is a B5 size notebook. So to create a split right in the middle of my page, there'll be 16 squares on the left and 16 on the right with the line going down in the middle. Over on the left-hand side, the way that I'm going to set this up is using kind of this 4-column grid here, but not exactly how it's going to be used. I'm really just kind of focusing over on this side of things. As I mentioned, I have a stamp that I'm going to be putting in the top corner of my page. I can even use stamps, and you could do this too if you have a cheat sheet. If you're ever curious on how much space something's going to take up, you can always just kind of lay it on the page to get a general idea. So this right here I know isn't going to exactly fit inside of the space that I have here, which would be 7 with 1 in between and another 7. So really 15 squares, but I'm going to kind of use that for my general spacing. So we're going to have a total of 15 squares, which are going to go across this space here. Now I'm going to also keep the one space that's in between to separate it. And then I'm going to break my page out very similar to what you see here. So we have 7 squares, and then we're going to put a space in between. It's kind of like an invisible line down our page. And then what I'm going to do is go to the edge of the page. So this will end up being 8. So it'll be the 7 and the 1 that's here. When I set up my cheat sheet, I set it up so that it can be flexible. If I just need to set up 4 columns here, I can do that with 1 in between here, but this is all very flexible on how I want to work. And that's how this whole page will be set up for us. So that's everything for this week as we go. So let's go ahead and start penciling things in for that spacing and get set up with the minimalist approach. All right, the next available page I have is right after my September monthly overview. I started to fill in a handful of things. I did a quick reel this past week on it in my overall setup, but really what I'm focusing on in the traditional bullet journal method, a lot of people use the calendar view for planning ahead, but what I'm doing instead this month is using this as a place to capture things that have happened. So after events happened, then we're going to put them in here. So we had Violet's Palms that were going on this past week. We'll also have a number of things that will happen as this week continues to go on, and we set this whole thing up. So I'm excited for it. We have a number of things that I've pulled here from my future log into my monthly, and a lot of things that are happening this week. Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, which I'm really excited for, and then also the camping weekend, and then also our Labor Day. So as you can see, I really only have about 4.5 days worth of work, or I guess technically 3.5 since I'm taking a half a day for the concert. So this is why I think the Alastair method is really going to work out well for me this week. A lot of our spacing this week is all vertical spacing. So I'm just going to do this real quick, and I'm just going to count across 15 spaces. And then I'm just going to draw just a real easy, thin, light pencil mark there so I can erase it later. We're going to put another one here because we're going to leave this area blank to separate our 2 parts of our page. Then we're going to go ahead and count out 7 squares. Draw a line, we have a space, and then this should be 8. I always like to start with that pencil because if I'm wrong or off a little bit, it's easy to erase and reset. If I start right with my pen or my marker, a little bit harder to do that. Over here on the right-hand page, we're just going to go ahead and split this just vertically down the page. So that's going to be 16 squares over. Draw that line there, and then I know I'll just draw a straight line, and this will all be for my daily task, daily notes, and rapid logging over here. One of the reasons that I went with this setup that I had in the back of my notebook is because there's only 7 days during the week, and that really makes it easy for me to start to track them here with a little bit more room over here for tasks. In the grand scheme, I probably should have shifted things maybe a little bit more to give myself some more writing room. So if this is something that you're setting up for yourself, whether it's in an A5 or a B5 or a square, just think about how much space you actually want for your task and your notes, and then make sure to give yourself an appropriate amount this week. So right at the top here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in the days of the week starting on Monday. You can do this however you want, but I'm also just going to put the number of the date right underneath of it. And that's really the setup for the days of the week. And then over here, I'm just going to go ahead and draw over a space, and we'll write in the title over here for tasks and notes in the future. This part over here, we're just going to draw a straight line down. If you prefer just to start this with your pencil and end it with your pencil, you totally can. It's a little hard to make a mistake when it's just a straight line. Trust me, I definitely do it all the time though. All right, now that we have that, the next thing for me is just going to be using this stamp that I have. So this is a self-inking stamp from Midori. I have the other calendar one I've been using in the previous weeks, but I just got this one with my cute things from Japan order, which you probably hopefully had seen the previous videos this past week on this one with my cute things from Japan order. So I'm going to be using that. I'll just write in the header more than anything here. Because it is a quick week, I'm not overly worried about a calendar. I also have been really thinking about it from a standpoint of like, do I need to put a calendar on every single page? And I don't know that I do. It is helpful, but taking a break this week, really just focusing in on really just general reflection and then getting into our overall week here. All right, now that everything is laid out here, I'm actually just going to use my pen that I'm going to be using this week, which is just the Uniball Signo DX. Super nice and easy to use. One of my favorite pens, super reliable. So let's go ahead and just fill everything in with some pen ink, and then we'll be good to go with our minimalist part. All right, so everything here is in a relatively good spot. I just need one of my erasers, and I'll go ahead and erase the pencil marks that I have here at the top. I'm gonna keep my header here because I'm actually going to fill that in, as well as the header for the daily logging in the twist with some ink and have some fun with that. If you're focused more on a minimalist approach, then you can just write in task and notes here if you want a header, daily logging, whatever type of header you want over here, you can write in yourself as well, maybe use some fun lettering or something like that. I was thinking a lot about this last week as I've been including more and more with the twist, and I hope that no one gets discouraged by seeing any of the other stamps or stickers or pens or ink. Know that if you do not have those things, you do not need them to bullet journal. It's one of the main reasons that I really like to do this two-part video now, where if this was your general setup, you are good to go. You do not need to worry about doing anything, but if you want to add anything different, the twist is here for you just to take a look and have some fun inside of your bullet journal. So speaking of it, let's go ahead and flip into the twist. We'll talk about what we're going to be using this week and setting up with some ink. We've got some stickers and some more fun. All right, this week we don't have how many little stamps are we going to be using, because we're not going to be using any other stamps than what we already have on our page. But this week we are going to be having some fun with the dip pen, as well as the Smoke Noir. This is from Monteverde, USA. I have recently acquired some more inks, but from Birmingham Inks, and I've decided that I'm going to start using this here. So this is the Filofax Clipbook. I used to use this as a content planner. I haven't really recently. But the cool thing is that when I was at that DC Pen Show, I found that Plotter had these really cool panel layout pages. And I thought, how awesome is this? I'll set up a swatch book for my inks. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. So if at any point I just want to take a look through and see what I'm doing, I can easily come in here and start flipping through some pages and see what color am I looking for, what am I in the mood for, what does that ink do, what does it look like. This is the one for the Smoke Noir, which is the gray, because we're also going to be using these cool gray stickers from Midori as well. All of these are open because I'm going to be recording a video unboxing and swatching all of the new inks that I got from Birmingham Inks. So really excited for that one there. Little sneak peek of that video. Along with the ink, I'm going to be using these stickers. This is a really cool sticker collection I got in my recent order from Cute Things from Japan. I was looking to fill up that shopping bag to get the free shipping, and these were really cool and on there, and I really appreciate them. So what they are, just little clear stickers from Midori, but what's cool is that they're all themed in a color. So these are kind of all of those grays. They also had a green one as well that I got, but I like this one because it actually had some trees and some other little fun things that I thought that I would include for my future going camping. So I'll put a little space down here for some camping, perhaps build out a little bit of a to-do list from a standpoint of what I need to take with me, but keeping it pretty simple, really more than anything, just having fun with these this week. So let's actually go ahead and start off with the ink itself. So I'm going to be using just a standard dip pen. I have a B3 head on this. So what the Bs are kind of more like a monoline, which I really like. I'll show you in just a second what that looks like on here. But this is a super nice and easy way to add a little bit of difference to your page. If you don't have ink, if you don't have the calligraphy pens, you could easily use your pen or your pencils or other brush pens to create your headers for you that could look very similar. You don't need these necessarily for your bullet journal. So we are going to be doing two different headers with this ink over here. We are going to be creating one over here for tasks, and I put tasks and notes in here before, but now I'm realizing that it's really just going to be for tasks because all of my daily logging is going to be where all of my notes live. So I'm just going to write tasks here, and then I'm going to write daily log across the top over here. And then I'm just going to write in reflection as just a nice little way to kind of tie things together. We'll go ahead and add in some of those stickers as well and have some fun. So let's go ahead and start first with the ink and the dip pen. If you haven't used these dip pens before, just to show you what the monoline one looks like, versus it being a pointed pen and kind of doing that calligraphy, I love it because it's just like a big fat line. And you can still do type of calligraphy if you want, like I'll be doing. So you can still use the same letters, but the cool thing is that it's just much thicker, looks a little bit different. So let's go ahead and do that over here for tasks. If you want, you also can just write in print with this as well, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to be doing my large and small letters. This is definitely the type of nib though you got to make sure that you give yourself enough space for, because you can easily write way too big and then you're kind of caught with like, oh crap, how do I fit more in here? And you cannot. So we've got a reflection area over here, which I'll do some quick journaling in and just general reflection for last week. We've got our overall approach here with our Alastair method, which is going to just kind of create a running task list of things that need to get done and when I'm doing them. And then over here, I've already dated for my very first day of the week, as well as created my titles using the dip pen, as well as using the Smoke Noir ink from Monteverde, USA. If you're ever interested in finding any of these, I always include the links to the items in the descriptions below. So if you're looking for that Smoke Noir ink, if you're looking for that certain nib type, if you're looking for any of the pens, all of that's down there for you as well. The last thing that I'm going to add in here is just going to be a real quick spot for some of these fun clear stickers that I have from Midori that I got from that order from Cute Things from Japan. So excited to use some of these. I think more than anything, I'm just going to focus on a small little spot over here for a checklist of things that I'm going to need for camping. So I'm just using the bottom half of my Alaster list here to get those things done. We got some trees. I would include the wolf, but we're going to be camping on a beach, so I think we'll be okay. But hey, there is a cool little lighthouse over here. And let's just make sure we get a handful of things that we need inside of here. So just create a cool little camping list out over here for me. Just make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to. All right, small little area over here just to remember a handful of things, which really are like, hey, we need that tent, we need those camping chairs and the air mattresses, pillows, blankets, and the cooktop items. I think that if I'm responsible for this, I'm hoping the rest of everyone that are going with us have the other things, but making sure that I have the tent and keeping us warm, that's the most important thing that we have going on. I really love these. They're really cool. They're transparent there on the edges, so they almost look like little doodles on the page, which is kind of cool. So loving that. I'll be excited to continue to use these in the future. There are some really just cool designs on here that I really liked, even some geometric ones, some stuff for the house, and even just like little tiny items, little pencils and people and things like that. So we'll see how I can use these in the future, but excited to have them. So that's going to be everything for us this week. We have that reflection area. We have our Alaster method with our running task list and a small little camping list over here. On the left-hand side is some little reminders. Also, we have the daily log and notes section here for everything that's going to be going on throughout the week. So really excited to take things on and get started with this week. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you're ever interested in checking out any other of my Plan With Me videos, this is an ongoing series that we have every Sunday. I'm posting these. You can find an entire collection right here for you on my channel. I'll talk to you later on. Happy planning and have a great week.